Hello and welcome to the freshman orientation for the Lafarge High School class of 2026. I'm Tim Slack, the school counselor for the district, and I'll be walking you through this short presentation in an attempt to kind of familiarize yourselves with the way our high school works and make it just an easier transition for our students as they begin their high school career. Our short agenda for today includes a little talk about the student handbook, our community service requirement, graduation requirements, and college entrance requirements. To highlight some of our teaching staff, it's not too much turnover. We've been lucky to have a very stable high school teaching environment over the last few years. We do have a new English teacher, and Mrs. Brandel. She joins us from North Crawford Schools. And Mr. Larson is brand new, taking over the physical education department. Other than that, it's a lot of familiar faces. The Fowles handle Ag and Tech Ed and band and music. Mrs. Paulson takes care of Spanish. Mrs. Benson, who you've all had, still is in charge of the art department. We have Mrs. Gerke and Miss Oliphant handling our resource duties. Looking at the student handbook, just kind of highlighting a couple of the most important parts. Attendance. We can't stress enough how important attendance is and how related it is to achievement. Being here is the most important thing. If you're not here, you miss out on so much. It's our experience isn't just about completing worksheets and assignments. There's so much that comes with the discussions that our students have with our staff, that being here is a huge part to your students' success. Moving on to looking at, I did add personal days, and I wanted to highlight this for this year. We have had an uptick in call-ins for students who need personal days. I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware that personal days for our students don't exist. So if a student is called in for a personal day, they will be marked unexcused absent. Moving on to the disciplinary system. Really, our disciplinary system is a step system where as behaviors escalate, so do the severity of consequences. But really, if your student does their best to control their bodies, their language, and such, and so on, we should not have any problems in that area. I also wanted to make everyone aware that all school staff, from the bus drivers to the lunch staff to the teaching staff, everybody who's employed by the school has the ability to implement that policy. So if a student isn't behaving up to our standards, they could issue detention, for example. And then also all school staff has the ability to refer a situation to the administration, who in this case is Mr. Kamlick. We did make some changes to our honor roll this year. So a student that earns a 3.5 GPA is considered an honor roll student. There are a couple notes there below that show situations where a student would not be considered for an honor roll award. If they earn an F in any class, regardless of their overall GPA, they cannot be on the honor roll. Also, if their attendance is to the point where they have at least 5 unexcused absences in a semester, so the first 2 quarters and the last 2 quarters, if they have 5 unexcused absences in one of those time periods, they cannot be on the honor roll. So it doesn't matter if you have a 4.0 GPA. If you don't come to school on a regular basis, you will not be considered an honor roll student. Moving on to our community service requirements. So this starts now that your student is a high school age student, and what we require here is that for all students that attend 4 years of high school at Lafarge High School, they need to have 40 hours of community service. We did recognize that that is a lot of hours. So a few years ago, we put in 2 community service events that happened during our school day. So that happens each year. So 2 events each year equals about 5 hours, and you multiply that by 4 for the 4 years of high school, and you have 20 hours. So really, our students are looking for 20 hours that they need to complete on their own time. One thing that happens on a regular basis is that I often get calls from community members that need help from students, and so I put those activities on the announcements, and then students can sign up or come talk to me, and I can coordinate them meeting the person that they're going to be helping and things like that. So it's really important that your student pays attention throughout the year, and accruing those other 20 hours that are required is not a difficult task. I mean, there is occasionally a graduating senior that still has a lot of work to do, but the best way to go about it is just to get it all done as soon as possible and turn in the required paperwork. So any questions that you have about that, just stop in and see me. There are situations where a student thinks something is community service, and I have to tell them that that doesn't qualify. But most of the time, that's because a student might be taking care of their own dog or something like that. I've had that a time or two. But other than that, you're just required to help another person that isn't related to you, and anything in that realm qualifies you for community service. So if you have any questions, just stop in and see me. The kids know where my office is, and I'm always available to help out. Looking at our graduation requirements from Lafarge High School, we require 4 English credits, 3 social studies credits, 3 science credits, 3 math credits, a credit and a half of physical education, half a credit of health, half a credit of personal finance, and then another 10.5 credits of electives that can be made up in that can be earned in the areas listed above, or in like Mr. Fowles' classes, Mrs. Palmer's classes, Mrs. Paulson's classes, and so on. So those are things that kids can talk to me about as well. And then on the bottom there, I just made sure to highlight that 40 hours of community service that are required also. And just that, like I said, I do have the authority to say that something doesn't qualify as community service. So as we help a student get through high school and graduate from Lafarge, we are always building schedules thinking about what is this student's goal. And so many of our students do go on to attend schools in the UW system. So UW-Madison, UW-La-Crosse, UW-Stout, and so on. What's nice about the requirements that our high school has and the requirements that the UW system has is they align really well. So if you can be successful here, it's likely that a school in the UW system will accept you. It's just, I can't guarantee anything, but most of the time that's how it goes. I do see, if you look down at the bottom, I do talk about the ACT score. They change depending on the university or college that you're working to enroll in. So just come talk to me about any specific questions that you might have. I also wanted to put on the bottom there, talking about extracurriculars. More than ever, I hear universities and colleges talking about a holistic review of your students. So they really want to see our kids involved in as many things as possible, whether it's sports or fine arts or Spanish club and so on. So I really emphasize today that our kids get involved in as many things as they can. It really can only be beneficial. Our sports and our clubs and our groups have so much to offer our kids. and there's a reward at the end. It might be the difference in getting into a college that they might want to attend after high school. College entrance examinations. The majority of the schools around here and our kids in this area take the ACT. So that's offered 6 times or approximately 6 times a year outside of our district. And it is offered 1 time in the spring of our kids' junior year. So in a few years here, our kids, this class will be taking their ACT usually in March of their junior year, where they just take tests on the content that they've learned throughout their time here and try to do the best they can. You can see there that if they take the ACT on a Saturday outside of our district, excuse me, then there is a cost involved unless the student qualifies for a fee waiver. I'd like to highlight the Wisconsin Technical College system too. It's hard to speak generally about those schools as every school is so different in their requirements. Some require testing, some don't. Some require transcripts, some don't. So I didn't want to speak too generally about any of the schools or the program in general. So as you mature and grow towards graduation, anything you'd like to know about any specific school, just come see me and I can work with you in that area. Just wrapping up today, I wanted to highlight just